I do not know who, if anybody, watches my videos. I cannot imagine anything I have to say being more important or more significant than the TikTok images online every day now of the children of Gaza. The fact that people do not note my videos when I'm 63 years old says to me that I'm right about my contentious allegation that the people who have chosen to make themselves close to me are part of an organized crime. However, I do know that sometimes watchdogs, police, and of course the adversary, Pope Carl and Munez Zappa, uh, obsess over my videos, but there's no talking to them. They're not being addressed to these maniacal personages. I have to try and do my level best to help Gaza if there's anything I possibly can do. I saw a couple of Jewish clowny acts on YouTube, Jewish jokers in their, yarmulkes. And they were saying strident things as though they were on whippets, like, I can't sleep unless I know there's a good genocide going on. These are not our allies. They're not anybody's allies. They can do and are doing nothing but harm. Next to them on YouTube, Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., through his self-representation, was changing the subject to the Armenian Holocaust. I studied with an Armenian Pulitzer Prize winner at the Pennsylvania Governor's School for the Arts in 1978. He affected me to look into the Armenian genocide. I have books like Against Massacre, which discuss the Ottoman Empire. Sadly, Professor Balakayan sided with the Zionists who really lit into me at the governor's school, who humiliated me and did terrible things to my name and self-respect, gratuitously, after a terrible ordeal in childhood. Although it didn't surprise me because it seemed like everybody was going that direction with regard to me. I eventually realized it was probably because I was an American and someone who they wanted to get even with about something or another in their lives. This isn't restricted to them. The type of American who feels that way about people like me, liberal, creative, poet, free spirit, have done the same thing over and over again. In fact, organize them to behave the way they do. But the point I'm making is I'm no stranger to being ganged up on by people who have the skin of their knees and victimizations in their pockets. But I do not change the subject. Robert Kennedy is part of this spin the bottle, choose your genocide cult that's doing terrible things, even to his own family. And he's nonchalant about it, insouciant. If the topic is what Hitler did to the Jews, that's what we will discuss. If the topic is Native Americans, we will discuss Native Americans. If the discussion is Armenians, we will discuss Armenians. The subject is Palestine. And the murderers responsible for what has happened in Palestine are Joseph Biden and Bibi Netanyahu. And they can never undo what they have done. 11,000 children murdered is an atrocity of such enormous dimension that they can only be called war criminals and put on trial from yesterday onward. And we should never deceive ourselves into feeling or believing that we have any choice but to do anything else but put them on trial as war criminals. None of this, well, if they this, if they that, if they yet. It's already too late for Robert Kennedy, who has said nothing. It's already too late for Donald Trump, who has said nothing. But at least they have said nothing. Joseph Biden has conscientiously encouraged Bibi Netanyahu. Let me tell you something that means to me personally, because I heard the name Bibi in the Zionist team that led to Ian Wadmaker, who gave me a BB gun to shoot a bird, and I hit it when I was a child, and I've never forgiven myself. Wade Bibi was his name. Like Roe versus Wade, Henry Wade, the man, the sheriff of Dallas who framed Lee Harvey Oswald. This is all a script called The Story of the Bird, which is about Kennedy. It's a revenge attack by multimedia souvenir sellers, hawkers in Zion, and David Geffen, who pulled a Houdini for John Lennon. Dishonest John. You know what a double is? A professor from Duquesne who I knew in phenomenology talked about the double arithmetic of the nation state. That's when you say 5,000 Americans died in Vietnam and 2 million Vietnamese amount to nothing. You don't even know that number. You don't even care. The double arithmetic of the nation state. The double fantasy. Lenin's idea that some derf from the hillbilly side of Pittsburgh could ever rise or amount to anything when he owed his Japanese wife over Hiroshima was going to get some drama club scoring from a gig called Double Fantasy. And they used a double, a hologram, and a dummy. And then they Frank Zappa him in the incinerator and said, if you don't pay up to the AIDS victims as a metaphor for the genocide of AIDS in the name of Hiroshima to the croquet Registerkroner and his girly man friend Clint Eastwood. We're going to blow your brains out, queer ball. We're going to eject you. We're going to stick you. The subject, they say, is James Curry. Letting go Gail Burstyn, who wrote the script. For Mick Jagger, who performs and wiggles his Kiss fanny wannabe for her in Tel Aviv. That's the reality of Bibi. It's part of an index system. Leslie Katz explained it to me. She said a metaphor is a metaphor for a metaphor for a metaphor. It's Bobby Kennedy's spin the bottle game. Whose genocide? My genocide or yours? We need water. We need schools. We need freedom from fossil fuels. We need orphanages. We need mosques, synagogues, churches. We don't need Biden and Netanyahu. And we certainly don't need any more bombs. We don't need World War III. We're dealing with war criminals. They have to be arrested.